Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm glad you are here. It's quite warm in Phuket in Thailand. I must tell you, while I'm recording here, it's a monsoon outside and you would expect a lot of cloud. The problem is when those clouds actually go away, because when the sun comes through and then it's really, really warm. And it's also very, very humid. And as you know by now, if you've seen the other videos, this particular studio is on the third floor. And if you're interested in how we built it, there is actually a video out on the building channel, which is something we made not really to get views, but we thought let's make almost like a documentary of how the building renovations, how it went. And that's exactly what we did, and we're really at the end now. So if you're interested in seeing how this studio actually was converted from a very horrible bedroom to what it's today, well, then you can go. I'll put the links in for you. But I suppose more importantly, you would want to know what book are we talking about today. Well, it's codename Cadillac, which I believe is a book which follows directly on codename Missile 72. Now, as I always say to you, you don't really have to read all the books to get the entire story. But it would actually help because they do refer to each other and one book might follow in the other book. So it often happens like that. And this book is 422 pages. So if you added Missile 72, which is probably about almost close to 400 pages, cannot write an 800-page book. Well, I can easily, but it's impossible to print, you know. And so you have to divide the stories. So what happens is, yes, the books might refer to each other, but at the end of the day, that doesn't matter because each story is one on its own. But just to recoup for you in codename Missile 72, and you're welcome to listen to the video we made on it. Basically, what happens there is Angelique Dawson was the heroine in the books. The Spymaster with her team, which one is Foxtrot, who later becomes her husband, father of her children. And his mate Peter Geelslang Ndebele, both of them are former Special Forces officers. And they good, and they recruited by Angelique. And there's an entire story about this as well. If you read codename Foxtrot, which is actually book 6, but it's the first one in time, you will find out a bit more on how they all met and how they are linked together. Because you know, you sometimes get these people who are just meant to be. And that's exactly what happens here. But anyway, in codename Missile 72, Angelique becomes aware of an intelligence officer in Zimbabwe who wants to defect. And he approaches her, I don't know how, through other channels. These spy masters, of course, all of them know each other. It's not they're not secret to each other. They might be secret to you, but they all know each other. They probably met somewhere. They probably worked together many times. Because it happens, you know, it happens. Sometimes you're enemies and sometimes you're not. You might ask me why Zimbabwe, which country which many people don't know anything about, the former Rhodesia. Well, in the first place, it's right next to South Africa, where of course, where I come from, and secondly, they actually do have a good intelligence service. They have a good special forces too. They're very old. I mean, they like mostly stuck in the 1970s, 80s with the equipment and things. But man for man, the DNA is there. They're good. And of course, they come from the famous Rhodesian Special Air Service. And many of them has been joined the Central Intelligence Organization, which is where call it a counter espionage as well as their espionage wing. And as I said in other books, they do run about 2 or 3 hit squads in South Africa where they murder and kidnap and abuse and threaten dissidents who fled Zimbabwe. Because Zimbabwe don't exist anymore. In the sense it is gone. As a country, it's gone. It has no currency even. I think I got a currency back now, but it's so ridiculous. I mean, at one stage, 1 US cent could get like 100,000 dollars or something. It was just, they almost replaced it with barter. But they still have a lot of mines and game farms and things like that going there, mostly stolen by the so-called comrades, those who fought in the Rhodesian Bush War, but were only born about 20 years after it ended. Yeah, I don't understand that one, I don't get it. I mean, if you were a veteran of that war, surely you should have been flippin' born before the war actually started. But no, apparently not. Apparently not. No, you don't. We have a very well-known South African politician. I'm not going to mention his name. He's an idiot of note. And according to him, he was also fighting in the struggle, all of being 9 years old. Yeah, so they had child soldiers and things there in the apartheid movements, anti-apartheid movements. Yeah, there were many of them, but I've never seen him around. So yeah, that's also just bullshit. But well, people get away with their crap. So Zimbabwe is properly screwed. I wanted to use the F word, but rather not. South Africa is rapidly heading that way, I'm told. Sadly so, because it could have been different in both countries. In fact, Rhodesia was very successful. It was exporting food, it was going great. And then, of course, came the free day. Yeah, freedom to die of hunger. Yeah, that's what it was. To make a long story short, this fellow, Mark Sithole, approaches Angelique during Codename Missile 72. He specifically asked, he wants Foxtrot and Geelslang to rescue him, and especially his wife who's stuck at the Katia tea plantation. And he wants Geelslang to go and fetch her. And that is basically that's what he wants. That's his price to defect. Now, when a senior man like that wants to defect, you will definitely move all the stops to get him to defect to you, because he's got the knowledge. What he doesn't know, he heard about. And he also have an instinct. He can look at something and tell you, okay, this is being done by this and this is being done by that. So, of course, the Zimbabwean intelligence service is probably of no importance to you if you're from the US or a different country. The superior countries, the colonial masters. You. But you're totally wrong, because you really need to read my books to understand the role that Zimbabwe actually is playing with jihadi Muslim terror, which is going on. We'll refer you to codename Green 41, as well as codename Mel's Choice. And there you're going to find out they play a major role in that, and they also play a major role in with China. Yeah. Nothing is by chance, Go and find out what's BRICS. We're not part of BRICS yet, as far as I know. We might be by the time you look here, but you know what? The only reason why they will ever be is because they are strategic, in the sense that they do have minerals, and they do actually host two things. One is one of the largest satellite intercepting stations in the southern hemisphere. There's one in Cape Town too. And then there's this one in Zimbabwe, run by the Chinese. The one in Cape Town is run by South Africans. At Silverstone or Silver something. And then they also are building a military base at Maringwe for the Chinese, a massively big base, Air Force, everything. And you find, funny enough, if you read some of the books, think of codename Halloween 38. I made a video on that one too. You will actually find out that you find a lot of Chinese military actually openly in Zimbabwe. You don't really find them anywhere else, except when a ship comes in, one of the Navy vessels come in at Dar es Salaam or wherever. Man, that is something to see. And that is where you will know that you, the West, listen, you've lost the war. Why? Let me explain to you. When we see the US military or NATO, oh shame. When we see you in Africa, what do we see? We see fat soldiers. They are overweight, many of them. They are arrogant to the extreme sense of the word. They've got nothing to learn. And we often wondered about that, because really, guys, your counterinsurgency, counterterrorism record is pathetic. It's the worst that the world has ever seen. You cannot do even the most basic things. I've spoken to some of your special forces members and they don't even know what is a double tap. They know nothing. It is astonishingly bad. And they totally rely on SIGINT, in other words, signal intelligence. Why? Why? Why do they do that? I've told the story for you before. And that is where I think two US Navy SEALs attacked a Green Beret and killed him. Later they said, no, it was hazing and it was an accident. Of course, nothing happened to them. Yeah, well, you have to wonder, when two special forces units actually attack each other physically and one dies and yeah, we just get away with it. Discipline, huh? Fuck all, ain't existing. You know nothing about discipline. Nothing, fuck all. See, I use that word. How many shots did you fire in that raid of you in Yemen, where you murdered or prevented or perhaps caused, let me rather put it like that teacher from Bloemfontein, Mr. Corky? Yeah. How many shots did you fire there? Besides your one aircraft, this Osprey thing which you crashed there, because you don't know how to land at night in the dark. Yeah, shame, sister. How many shots did you fire during that raid? Come, tell me. It was during Obama's time. US Navy Team SEAL 6. Best you have. Like the best you have, really. So that day, that night, you fired something like 37,000 shots. There you go. That's a surgical strike for you. Yeah, no, it ain't. I'm sarcastic. How many innocents did you kill? Huh? Tell me. Oh, no. Not one, I suppose. No. Okay, so tell me, the human rights organizations, those people who surround, who go afterwards and look at it, look at your crime scenes, Doctors Without Borders, those type of people. What word do they say? They say about 37 to about 47 innocents you killed. Yeah. Were some of these people who died that night, were they perhaps children? Yeah, they were children. Yeah, don't deny, they were children. Women? Yeah, of course. How many actual terrorists did you kill? No, you don't fucking know. No, you don't know. No, what do you know? Yeah. You know what? Let me not get worked up again about your low standards units. Really, let me not get worked up again. Fact of the matter is, in Africa, you're so pathetic that we don't rate you. And we don't even care about you, except that we don't want you close to us. Because if you're close to us, you will panic and you will start shooting. You will betray the mission. You ain't good. You're not good enough to operate here. And I'll put a slide in for you to say, to prove to you from your own blunt statistics and from your own people, not me. I could have told you that too, but I'm nothing. It doesn't matter. I'm just an author with some experience. But your own people, what do they say? Your own BBC, I think it was. Yeah. That state-funded British outlet. Yeah, that place. Yeah. Strange how you always point finger to RT, Russia Today. State-funded. Ooh, Putin's newspaper. Ooh, let's ban it in entire Europe. Ooh. BBC is funded in the same way. Did you know that? No, probably not. Do you know that just yesterday or 2 days ago, about 270 of the journalists had a protest? You know why? Because you were telling them you have to be nice to Israel and Palestine. Yeah, you shouldn't report war crimes. There's no such thing. Genocide. No, we don't want to know. No. I don't believe a genocide story myself, to be honest. said that many times. War crimes, yes, definitely. Evidence is there, you can't deny it. Don't even try. So you see, what's good for the geese isn't good for the gander, is it? Is it? And for us colonials, you know, we was on the outside and was not under the influence of your little King Charles. You know, that guy who cheated on his wife. You know, the one where his wife probably cheated on him because, you know, one of her children really doesn't look like Charles. It's of course a crime in England to talk about Charlie Boy. You know, guys, it's a fascinating thing, but read the books, read the books. I can go on like this for hours, but that's not the point here. Let's get back to codename Cadillac. The name is from Melissa, my late wife, because she had a Cadillac. At one stage in her life, she was always laughing about the car because he lived in Florida. And it's a damn warm place, Florida, actually, apparently. But I know it can get cold there too. And this Cadillac of hers had like a steering wheel which was heated. And she just found that extremely funny. But anyway, in Codename Missa 72, the book before this Mark Sithole has to be rescued. He is rescued. There's an entire story going on there. Please read the book. It's fascinating how they did it. And it's very fascinating what came out about Renamo. That is the anti-communist movement that was created by the Rhodesians. And when Rhodesia came to an end, they turned enemies. Now suddenly Zimbabwe forces, the old Rhodesian army, now the Zimbabwean army and air force, now they are attacking, you know, Renamo. Renamo is receiving support from South African Special Forces. Yeah, and as we say in Afrikaans, is een groot gemors. It just, entire world turned upside down. If you go to Legacy Conversations, the main channel, you will find there are some Special Forces members talking about those times where they were supporting Renamo. And then, of course, South Africa changed once again, and South Africa became basically a one-party state in the sense that the cancer is basically winning and will win. It's only recently that the ANC has actually stopped winning and had to go into a coalition with the, government of national unity. And I haven't seen any changes, actually. For me, it's just business as usual. But whatever. But then Renamo, of course, was left on its own. But it wasn't the end of the story because then entered the South African Secret Service, which is now also disbanded. It's known as something else. I think it's a National Security Agency. No, it's not that. That's for Americans. I don't even know, guys. I haven't been involved for a few years. But anyway, in the beginning of the 1990s, there were a lot of police and South Africans there inside Mozambique, which is a separate country. And they were destroying arms caches, things like that. Yeah, so they say. But what people don't know is, and this might be true even, is that there were other things happening with those arms caches. Some of them were just moved. Not all of them were destroyed. Now, I'm not pointing fingers to the guys in the police and whoever who was doing it, because you people were not involved. Yeah, there were other things happening in the background, which was later taken over by the intelligence services. So anyway, Mark Sithole, when he's rescued with his wife, and now he's being debriefed in a place very close to the Swaziland border. Donald Trump, Daddy, where's Swaziland? Do you know? Do you know? No, he doesn't know. Why not? It's a shuttle, you know, it's an African country. That's what he calls African countries, shuttles. There's still human beings living there, you know. People who was born in that place, who's proud of their country, right or wrong. Take Nigeria, for instance, very proud people. Very proud people. Even South Africans, they know there's things wrong there. Even Zimbabweans, still their country, man. Why do you people react so badly when I tell you you're pathetic? Well, because it hurts. I mean, it's like a patriot thing. I mean, I'm telling you your country is shite. I mean, of course you're going to get upset about it. I mean, it's just patriotism, but do you realize, Daddy Trump, do you realize that other countries also are patriots? Not only you. It's not an American thing, actually. It's worldwide. It's worldwide. The Russians, of course, they're patriotic. Ukrainians, yeah, lots of them are. That's why we're fighting against all odds, and they're losing. Yeah, they're going to lose dreadfully. There's nothing left of that country. And I don't even see that it's going to exist much longer, but whatever, it's not my problem. So anyway, this General Sithole is being debriefed, and he's being debriefed by the counter-espionage people who work inland, in the book anyway. And so Sithole starts revealing certain things. Because the CIO, the Zimbabwean intelligence, have compromised many South African politicians. Yes. And so once again, if you're American, you'll say, so what? What's it got this to do with me? Well, it's got everything to do with you. Go and look on the BRICS map on where South Africa is. I'll put it for you here. And then you will see that South Africa is actually a very, very strategic country. Why? It controls the sea route, the Cape of Good Hope. Why is that important? Because the Suez Channel can be closed off in seconds. It's nothing. Look what the Houthis did to you at the Red Sea, just to the north. US Navy, you lost. You had to run away. Yes, you had to run away. Yeah, you did. You sailed away. Hope you don't go back. I understand Israel is begging you to go back. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. As I say, it is 13 July today. Perhaps by the time you look here, we did go back, and perhaps you've lost ships. I don't know. I hope not. I hope not. Fact is, you lost. Yeah, you lost. Shame. It's not the first time, you know. You keep on losing. You are a country that actually never wins. When last did you win? You know, it's a funny thing. I just this morning I was watching TV. I was actually eating breakfast, and I thought, let me just put something on. I'm alone here in the building, just me and the two cats. Rebecca is still in Switzerland, Swineland, and some guy quite cleverly said, well, he made some comparisons between a Chinese march or military march. They passed all the leaders, and then he also had one of Donald Trump's march, you know, that Bastille Day or something, whatever. I don't know what the hell he was trying to do. His birthday parade. Yes, that one. Oh, guys, I've heard about it. I haven't really looked at it. Let me tell you, the American version, it was not even bad. It was worse than bad. I have no words, no pride. When you see those Chinese men and women coming past, and they are fit, and they are upright, and they look like soldiers, and they proud, and you can see they are there, and if that officer roar the command, you just see them snap like this. It is brilliant. And then comes the fat slops. They come walking there like this. You know, if it wasn't so bad, if it wasn't so frighteningly bad, I would have laughed, but I can't laugh. I feel sorry for you. I really feel sorry for you. There were some guys, now they're walking and they're fat. They're fat. They have book pincer. They have stomachs. It is protruding like this. They have like love handles. And we're not talking about a general officer who might be in his late 50s or 60s, you know. He's not as fit as he used to be. No. We're talking young men. You're fighting age men. And then we read the reports, and what do they say? 1/3 of US Marines are overweight, sir. Yes, damn right you are. You are fatties. Okay, right, okay. US Army, how many of you are fat and overweight? Tell me. Huh? Close to 50%, sir. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. Where's your training standards? How is it possible? How can I have no words. Now I understand why you need so many prescriptions, millions of them for Viagra. You can't even get it up. Oh, shame. Not even for yourselves. And then, of course, I had to write a book called Voices, War Crimes USA. Go and read it. You know why I wrote that book? Because my late wife said to me, you know what, the chances of a US service woman being raped, I say to you, by her own men, by her own comrades, her own fellow soldiers there, is, is extremely good. Yeah. How many of them? 1 out of 3. Yeah, there you go, sir. 1 out of 3. We gotta rape 1 out of 3 girls. Mm, mm. Then you put a few females on your submarines. Brilliant. No, you want to be what? Woke. Okay. You're not the first, by the way. I think the Norwegian Navy actually had, or is it the Swedes? Sweden. They actually had female commanders, submarine commanders. You're not the first. And what happened? Tell me what happened. Let me think. It then came out that actually you put hidden cameras in their quarters and you would then spread around pictures and videos of him getting undressed and showering, things like that. You would spread that around on closed groups on Facebook. Yeah, true, guys. Go and research. I'm not lying to you. These are the facts. Yeah. So you're sitting there playing with yourself while you look at your, your fellow female comrade. What the hell is wrong with you people? So anyway, because this guy is now revealing Mark Sithole things which the South African government is finding very, very embarrassing, I asked Angelique, who's the head of counter-terrorism and counter-espionage, to actually remove it, get rid of it. Okay, well, that can mean death. Yes, that can mean death. But she decides no. She knows Mark Sithole from somewhere. She really likes the guy. He's older than her. He's like a father. In fact, it comes out that they did meet when she was still a child, and her dad was, of course, also a general. And he knew Mark Sithole well, because Mark Sithole started his career in the Rhodesian army as in the Rhodesian African regiment, and he went over to the Salute Scouts, where Angelique's dad was also. And then from there on, he became a Zimbabwean officer, like all of them did. It's no secret. And then he became head of military intelligence. Now, okay, this is in the book. Is he disguised? Yes, of course it's disguised. Of course it's disguised. So he indicates, I don't know exactly how she speaks to him, but he indicates that, look, he would be willing to go to the UK. He was working with MI6 for a long time, and perhaps they would be interested in him. And again, MI6 is actually interested in him because he knows things. He knows things which they need for the war on terror, which you lost. But I'm not going to go into that anywhere. And so now he's being held in a safe house by the South Africans, by the counter-espionage people, who are really pathetic in every sense of the word. I have no time for them whatsoever. As I always say, you are welcome to come and speak to me at Legacy Conversations if you can. Which, of course, you'll just say, no, we can't because we have a secrecy clause. No. You can't because you're so pathetic that you can't tell me the truth, not knowing that I know the truth already because I spoke to many of you off the record. Why? Because they come and cry to me. Yeah, they tell me they tell me about you. Then, of course, I've seen many of you running around as well. So, you know what? Whatever. But the fact is, this guy in the book anyway is being held by them. And so now we need like a false flag operation. This is what the book is about. Is how to do a false flag operation. Now, false flags are happening all the time. The Israelis, the Mossad, is extremely known for it. In fact, they are known that they would even take a vehicle and they would explode it. I think it was in Buenos Aires. They would explode the vehicle close to the embassy, and then everybody would cry, "Oh, people are attacking the Jews, and people are attacking Israelis. Oh, you know." But if you don't show that, of course you're anti-Semite. But once again, guys, it's known. Your tactics are known. So what does it help you? Well, where's the benefit? I don't get it. But of course, a false flag operation can actually lead to war, or it can justify a war. Huh? Yeah, there you go. I'm going to speak about one which happened in Poland at the start of the Second World War. I'm going to speak about it just now. And that will explain the concept to you. And that is also why it is so damn dangerous. Because what's going to happen? Let's say that suddenly, touch wood, this never happens, but I'm sure it's planned. Let's say suddenly a US air base or something is attacked in the Middle East. And quite a few people dies. And within 10 minutes, Netanyahu is there with Trump. Hey, Daddy, guess what, Daddy? Daddy, you know, we have information, we have intelligence. Yes, it's the Iranians. Yes, sir, it's the Iranians. Yeah. What happened to the Epstein files, Trump? What happened? Wangina? Where you guys? I understand it doesn't exist anymore. By the way, it's highly unlikely that Donald Trump was actually involved with the Epstein story. They knew each other. He chased him away from Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, it's in my books. But more importantly, if you look at the type of woman which Donald Trump likes, then none of them looks like a 16, 15, 17-year-old girl who's, you know, like boyish, almost small, petite, not big-chested, not big asses. That was about the way which the Epstein victims look like. All of them were like thin, small, petite, girly-like, but not woman-like. You understand what I mean? And by that I mean is go and look at Donald Trump's taste in women, who he's married to, who he was seen with, who was with him. You know, it's all big-chested women. They're fairly broad. That obviously is what a man likes. So I really doubt that his name is on that list. And in fact, it is known whose names are on the Epstein list because it was published. It's online. If you go and search for a guy called Larry Johnson, ex-CIA member, he actually published a list as well, which he got from somewhere. No one is really accusing him of lying. No one has sued him. So you can go and look at the list and you'll find out. Billy Gates. Bill Gates, your name is on there. Billy Gates Clinton. Yeah, your name's on it. Who else? Lots of people. So it's a gigantic cover-up. But anyway, I don't think Trump had anything to do with that. So what they want to do in this book, in Codename Cadillac, is create a typical false flag operation. So in other words, they want to rescue Sithole or kill him and let somebody else be blamed. Exactly the scenario I created for you just now, which we hope never happens, where suddenly US service members die or some terrorist attack inside the US, which we're also now setting up. You can see it coming through, and they're changing the minds of the people, and then suddenly something happens and everybody says, right, now we're going to go war with Iran. There's a part of me would actually want to see you do that because it's not Iraq. No, you're going to suffer. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's hope that wisdom prevails, which it won't, but let's see. So they have to go and rescue this guy. So Angelique tells Foxtrot, listen, you and Geelslang and a few men go and rescue him and make it look like the Brits did it. Why the Brits? Why not? Why not? We don't like the Brits. Don't think we forgot about concentration camps. No, we don't forget about it. No. It's also so you know that when you find a guy in Africa anyway, I understand in America too, and he speaks with this fantastic British accent, you know, I can't speak like that. Then you do think that this guy's actually quite smart. He's quite clever until you realize he's actually the damn janitor or somewhere. He just speaks like that. But don't underestimate them. They're very good in certain things of intelligence. They're quite good, even though I rate MI6 low. They are very good at certain things, and false flags are one of them, which they are very good at. And they do have a certain air. You know, people have seen the James Bond movies, and especially the colonials, and with that I include the CIA and the Americans. They think they are lesser than these guys. I don't know why. What the hell's wrong with you? It's the same with this Australian SAS who started committing mass war crimes and murders and things in Afghanistan. Yeah, your Prime Minister had to apologize in public. Yeah, we know about that. Yes. Of course you did. Stop lying. We know. And the reason why they said they were doing that is because they felt inferior. Why? Why would you feel inferior, mate? Just because you're from the colonies, you're inferior? Really? Okay. Well, anyway, so what the Brits would do is they would use their prestige, which some people think they actually have. And then they would influence operations, and they would get the money from the CIA to do it because they ain't got money themselves. We saw that from 1948 onwards, where Kim Philby and these guys were involved. We're in Eastern Europe, we're across from Italy. We were trying to destabilize, I think, Yugoslavia or someplace. Yeah, I was speaking out of memory. It was pathetic. It didn't work. Of course not. Not when you have a KGB damn spy inside MI6 telling everybody what's going on. Interesting. So anyway, what they do is then, since Foxtrot speaks like me, he can't really speak English that well. But Geelslang Peter Ndebele speaks English like an Englishman. He has an upper class English accent. He can speak like that, he does speak like that, and he gets a few people who can speak like him. And so they get dressed in British military uniforms and British weapons, which is not that hard to get because MI6, remember, is working with, they supply these uniforms. That's where I told you a story in a previous book. I was just speaking about it, but it's actually in this book in Cadillac, where they go and they find this cachet which the Brits has made for them. They know immediately this is not a local one, simply because the wood is new and whatever else is inside. They get these things, the rifles, the uniforms, everything, even the SAS berets, everything. It's amazing what you can get. So now they completely dress like that. They speak like the Brits, they look like the Brits, and they act like the Brits. You see, that's the other problem in life, which is I also explained to you in a previous one. I think it's on button, but I'm not sure. But the thing is, you don't fit into Africa. You don't fit here. You don't belong here. In sub-Saharan Africa, you really don't belong. You don't belong in North Africa either. You don't look like them. You don't look like us. You don't speak like us. You don't have our culture backgrounds. And you don't have a language capacities either. You can't speak. You can't speak the local languages. Which is why you keep on relying on your SIGINT, and then, which is a story of, I think I'll tell it to you. I did tell it in other books, but I'll do it again. You know, we were 2 US Navy SEALs actually murdered this one guy from the Green Berets, and then they said, no, it was hazing, whatever, nothing happened to them. They got away with it, of course. But the fact of the matter is, the stories which came to us was that these 2 SEALs were actually stealing money, which they got to create spy networks, because why? The CIA couldn't supply them with any information. So they started trying to do their own spying, which they're not trained to do. And then this Green Beret found out they were using the money on horse and I don't know what else, drops probably, I don't know. That's the stories which came to us, and that's why he was killed. Yeah. But again, where were your spies? Well, I'll tell you where were your spies. They were pissing themselves of fright inside their embassies. They don't really want to operate anywhere where there's any type of danger. They don't want to die. They are really scared. They're really scared. And that is the other difference. When you find a Russian spy or something, yeah, you see a man's man. He walks down there, he's got 2 blondes with him, he's doing both at the same time. Might even invite you to do the other one while he's busy with this one. So he's the type of guy which some African men actually really do like, at least respect. But when you see the US version there holding hands with his husband, yeah, and they tell you about how woke it is and how wonderful it is to be gay. And it might be, guys, I don't care. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. It is not my concern. I don't give a shit. But that type of thing does not work in sub-Saharan Africa. You're working here with conservative people. Many of them are religious. They don't like you. So why would you send then people like that there? It's counterproductive. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. They don't like you. They really don't like you. And then they get people to compromise you. Yeah, they do. And then what? Most of you are compromised the moment you arrive here. And then, of course, they got you because they then hand that compromise over to who? The South Africans, when it goes to China or it goes to Russia, or the Russians will give it to the Chinese or whatever. You know, there is such things as called combined operations. So anyway, feels like Ben pretends to be a Major Andy Windsor. Do you get the joke? Okay, let me explain. You see, the British royalty, that is now King Charlie and mates, they're not actually English. No, they had to change their name from German to Windsor in 1917 during the First World War. Yeah. But all of them are actually German. They're not English. Queen Victoria, when she died, you know what language she was speaking? German. Why? It was her first language. Yes, yeah, here we go. So we're not even English, yet you bow there. Okay, well, whatever. So the House of Windsor, so he's pretending to be royalty. It's a joke. We're pulling a joke. It's also in this book where they left a calling card there in the British cachet, which is a Springbok doing the Queen, Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth II, rest in peace, Madame. She was actually a good person, really good person. And yeah, so this card, this business card they left behind, the Springbok Ram is doing the Queen from behind. And may I say, our eyes were popping quite a bit. Just colonial humor, you know. I'm sure if you're English, you wouldn't even be watching here. You would really dislike me. That doesn't matter. So anyway, they do rescue the man, and they didn't kill anybody there, as far as I know, as far as I can remember. And then they smuggle him across the border right through Swaziland into Mozambique. In Mozambique, at Foxtrot's house, later, of course, Angelique's house as well, they all meet. They have like a dinner there. I explained to you the great South African braai in that book, because there might be foreigners here who don't understand what's a braai or a barbecue. Not the same as you people in the US with your little stupid hamburgers. No, please, that's not a braai. But in this, we explain to you how it works. There is a certain tradition. The woman makes the salad and go and stand there. The man stands at the fire and talk nonsense with a beer. And when you actually get to eat, the eldest there, or the most respected of a man of the house, will actually do a prayer before dinner. And the women are supposed to keep quiet and just bow their heads down like that. Yes, you do that while you stand next to your husband or whatever you have there with you. And the men will remove their hats. Let me say to you, friendly tip, go to South Africa to a barbecue. Stand with a damn hat on your head while there's a prayer going on and see what we do to you. Yeah, we know how to deal with people like you. Certainly we do. Yes. But anyway, Sir John then is like, look, he can't smuggle Sithole out of Mozambique like that. They need to go north. They need to go to the Niassa province in northern Mozambique. There's a lot of trouble there right now with jihadism. And there they know there's an old Mozambican Air Force base, or runway anyway, which we refer to in the books as the Meek runway. Yes, it exists. And then also as the Ukutula ranch. Ukutula, it is a Zulu word for peace. That is actually the place where Angelique and Foxtrot and Geelslang and his wife Tandiwe, they would retire to that place after Angelique is detained and held captured when it comes out that she's actually a double spy or a penetration agent for France. But I'm not giving anything away for you here, because in the books, everybody who read the books will know about it, but it's in codename BFO 565. The first book written, but probably almost the last book in the series. Not quite, there's about 7 books after that one before it's the end. That is where Angelique is captured and rescued, and she defects, and she goes back to where she comes from, back to France. But of course, at some stage, she comes back and she joins her husband, and the Eggbreaker War has broken out by then. It's a long story. You can read about the Eggbreaker series. You can also read the very last book of a series, which is codename Devra, I believe, which a lot of time this place, this Kutula Ranch and the Meek basis features a lot in the books, because that's basically what you want in the shadows. You need like a runway which you can use for major aircraft, where you can stage out from where you can resupply or whatever you want to do, or smuggle people out. So anyway, they have to get Sithole there, so they're driving there. They've got, I think, three vehicles. They've got like a Samo 20, which is a South African military type of truck, 2.5 tons. Great vehicle, fantastic vehicle. There's a video out on it on Legacy Conversations. And it's fantastic off-road. There's no other word for it. And I think they also have a Unimog there, which is also fantastic. I don't need to explain it. And I think a Mancat 8x8. I'm not too sure anymore. Anyway, they have the entire convoy of vehicles where they're going off. But it seems that they're being betrayed, because this, Sir John of MI6 will always play stupid games, and they are in fact betrayed. And now the Rhodesians, the Zimbabweans, are aware of this, because they've been looking for Sithole. And so both Mr. Sithole and General Sithole now needs to be protected. But at the end of the day, they actually do get to the runway. So John arrives there to take Mark Sithole, and Mark Sithole basically made a speech. And the entire book is worthwhile to get just for that speech, which I've heard him make myself, the real one. And it's the most fantastic speech ever, because he started telling this flippin' MI6 boss, Sir John was arrogant piece of whatever. He starts speaking history, so he explains to him the role of the Rhodesian African rifles, where they come from and how they fought in World War II, how they fought for the Queen. Yeah, they did. First for the King and then for the Queen. And how they actually stayed loyal, even when Rhodesia became independent. A large part of them were actually still loyal. And many of them are still loyal to the Queen. I don't know why, but anyway, for them it is some kind of honor. But sadly, the Queen was not loyal to them. But anyway, he explains the entire story there, and it's very touching. It's really a fantastic speech he made that day. But he's a brilliant man. He was. He died recently, I heard, in Swineland, of all places. But anyway, so you'll have to read the book to find out what happens further to him. But I want to talk to you about something called the Gleiwitz incident. I hope I say that word correctly. Gleiwitz incident. I'll write it here too, so you can see for yourself. It happened in 1939. Now that was a false flag operation, and basically what happened is some of the SS people came and they took some people out of the concentration camps, as well as one German called Franziszek Honiok, and they dressed them as saboteurs, and they drugged them and gave him like lethal injections, but they wasn't quite dead. They got shot dead, and then they basically dragged these people before they were dead now at a radio station, at Gleiwitz radio station, to broadcast a short anti-German message in Polish. That's what they did. So they wanted the world to believe that these Polish people actually attacked Nazi Germany, took over the radio station, broadcasted this anti-German message, and then of course they got caught by the German army, who then killed them. Now it's funny that the concentration camp people came from Dachau. Yeah, Dachau. That's where they come from. And they were all, like I said, dressed like saboteurs. They were all shot dead. They were shot mostly in the face, or their faces were hit with hammers and things. so that you couldn't really see their identification. But the German, who's now dead, also Aniok, they left him intact so they could see this is this well-known communist, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and they called this operation of theirs Conserve, which is German for canned goods. That's what it became known as in English, Operation Canned Goods. That's a false flag. And people talk about the Gleiwitz incident, but in fact it was totally a false flag. It wasn't an incident, it was an operation. Now, I'm sure that what General Sithole he said this to me, so I know it, I'm sure about it. He said that when Geelslang and these people came in, dressed as the British SAS, with their berets, everything speaking this wonderful English of theirs, he knew that it was not the SAS. Why? Because he knew Geelslang by sight. And how he got to know him, you will find in Codename Missile 72, which is a story on itself. And so he knew these people could not be who they thought they were. And so he was quite relaxed about it. But he also said to me that if he did not recognize Geelslang and some of the other lads with him, he would definitely have been very worried. Because it's very possible that during such an operation, you make sure that this guy doesn't survive. In other words, he dies in the shooting. There might be a shootout, you kill everybody in the house, and you make sure that he's killed as well. And then you try and disguise it as a crime, just normal criminal activities, and then you get yourself time investigators, and you just cover it up like what's happening with Epstein right now. Yeah, that's how you do it. Classic. Or you blame someone else, like in this instance, because the counter-espionage people actually survived. Any NIA, National Intelligence Agency, useless. I call them in my books a national disgrace. There are many reasons why I say that. If you're part of them, again, open invitation. Come and talk to you on legacy. I will treat you with respect. Come and tell us your heroic deeds. I want to know. Because you haven't actually captured anybody, did you? No. Well, there was, of course, a case of this Taljaard, what was he called? A Mossad agent, where they bought the blueprints of the Mokoppa missile. Yeah, I talk about that in Codename what? Alphabet 32. And two of them went to jail, and one committed suicide. But you didn't prevent it. How did you know about this? Let me tell you. Interesting story. Let me first say to you that the Mokoppa missile is the best anti-tank missile in the world. There's nothing better. And as I say in that book, Alphabet 32, where I introduce it to you, it comes with different warheads. So it can have a thermobaric type of warhead to use against houses or ships. And then it can also have anti-armor. It penetrates 50% more armor than what the Hellfire can do. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be fired on line of sight. In fact, you can launch it from here, and if the Special Forces or attack helicopter or something is marking a target for you, it will fly, it will pick it up, and it will go there, and you will not defeat it. And will it shoot out the Abrams and Challenger and the other tanks? Yes. Of course it will shoot you out. It was designed to shoot you out. But the first batch of them, the first prototypes were actually leaked, in a sense that these guys got hold of the plants. They were working at a place producing them. They started selling them or wanted to sell them on the open market. The Israelis actually bought it. And then they made copies of it and they gave it to their mates, or they sold it probably, because they'll never give it away. They will definitely just sell it. It's the same what happened, okay. I'll tell the story later. So then they contacted South Africa and they said, no, we found these things and we want to return it to you. Yeah, well, of course you can do that. You already made your copies. How do we know that? Because we saw when you make copies on printer, on paper, it leaves marks. Yes, so we could see that. And we also, people in the US told us they found they also have this. So we know you sold it. Yeah, we know. You see, once again, you can tell a bullshit story this side, but your problem in life is what happens when we are other people who know it's bullshit and they start saying, no, but you're not telling the truth. Or we've got it, or that one's got it, or suddenly then your story falls into pieces. You know, it looks so nice to you in a bubble. Seldom to never stands actually in real life. Yeah, it seldom does. Interesting. So anyway, the guy who committed suicide, he actually did commit suicide. He wasn't forced or anything. But the copper missile was being upgraded completely. So the planes which they have right now doesn't mean anything. You can have it whatever you want. Besides that, we got hold of a Makopa, which is a South African product. You know why? Because after '94, when Mr. Mandela took over, in fact, they approached the US and they said, look, is it possible for you to sell us a Hellfire? And Billy got Clinton's place said, no, fuck you, we won't do that. I'm going to give it to you. Why? I don't know. Because that's before BRICS. He says, no, we don't like these blacks. No, go away. So South Africa, you know, used to be a NATO-oriented country. In fact, the entire military system is based on the British system because it works. And of course, they will learn from anybody and everybody. Read the books, you'll find out they combine a lot of things. But anyway, that's what happened. The US said, no, we're not going to help you. We're not going to sell it to you. No, screw you. And so South Africa went out and they just further developed what they had, and which they already used in tank battles in Angola. Go to legacy conversations, listen to Honest Northman, Lieutenant Colonel, as well as Honoris Krigsholder, that's a high medal for valor, for bravery, where they stopped and wiped out the entire brigade of tanks. Biggest tank battle since World War II in Africa. You know about it? No, you don't know about it. Do you know that we had a very fantastic, actually brilliant counterinsurgency going on? Yeah, which we won. You know that? No, you don't. How do I know you don't know it? Because when your General Petraeus, a doctor, I think he's got a PhD in something, later the CIA director until what? Yeah, until he got caught with an officer who was not his wife. Yeah, we read his book, Field Manual, whatever, 324, about counterinsurgency. Yeah, we were still stupid in those days. We really expected to read something about us and the Rhodesian effort. Yeah, but no, fuck off. I think, no. Which means to me you don't know about it. You're very stupid. You don't know. Funny thing about this Petraeus, do you know how he got caught? Let me explain this quickly before we go. Have you heard about a letter drop? You've heard that technology, a letter drop. Now, the major problem for spies is actually to communicate with each other, because it's no flipping use that you know there's an attack coming on the USS Cole or whatever, and I'm not saying they did now, I'm just using an example, right? You know there's an attack coming, so you want to send a flash message. That's the code we used. Flash message means, and read or listen to codename Lucy, that's where the flash message comes in. And then you will see Angelique drops everything. She can be in the middle of making cook sisters or whatever she's doing. She will drop it and go for that message. It's a flash message. It means it's the highest priority there is. It's normally a war warning. That's how high that is. And so now you need to get the information out. How do you get it out? Well, as you would know, these days probably they just use their cell phones with encryption, things like that. Really think it's safe. Yeah. You know, a place like Signal was actually created with CIA money. place like Telegram is listened by French intelligence. WhatsApp? Oh, totally. CIA, actually NSA, no such agency. Yeah. There's no such thing as safe communications like that. But in an emergency, it might be worth your while to do it. Yeah. There is, of course, this email system which is based in Switzerland. Can't remember the name. I always forget. Patron or something like that. If I remember, yeah, I'll put a word in for you. And everybody will say to you, oh, this is Swiss. Ooh, the Swiss has such fantastic privacy laws. Ooh, they will never reveal it. Oh, yeah, guys, they reveal those things hundreds of times a year. All you need is a Swiss court to order that. Yeah, ask me. I lived in Switzerland. I know. I saw the news articles. But I knew it before that. Proton, that's what you call it. Proton mail. Oh, yeah. Proton mail. It's not safe, guys. There's nothing safe about it. Yeah. Must I tell you about crypto AG again? You know, that is the ones who made the Enigma type of machines, encoders. And then in 1972, the CIA actually bought them out, became a shareholder, the majority shareholder. And instead of revealing this to the third world countries and others who were buying their shite, well, they said nothing. So the NSA were reading all your mail. Switzerland, neutral country. Very neutral. Yeah, police state, man, police state. You know, it's the funniest thing ever. When you walk in Switzerland and they're so full of, oh, you're not allowed to put a camera on your door. Why? Because your door might see my door and you might see me go in and out. Okay, I hear you. Yeah. But, idiot, listen to me, little swine. Wink, 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 wink. If you walk down your street, how many cameras are there which the police are spying on you and all 26 of your intelligence service? How many? I counted them in Lausanne, other places too. Yeah. How many? Every 500 yards. There you go. You want to tell me you're a free society, huh? You're a free society. Really? Really? So anyway, how did patrollers, how did they get caught? Because they were using this very same method. Where normally what you would do is you would take your message, you would write it down, you put it somewhere, call it a letterbox, and then the other spy comes, normally on a diplomatic cover, and just pick it up and take it back. Yeah. Many of them got caught like that. There's videos online of people being caught like that. Sometimes they would make a mark on a lamppost, just a little mark of a pen or something, and then you would know that's the signal. You have to go to that letter drop box, and you get it there. You don't know the KGB is waiting for you. So we use this thing, and the other thing we can use is a brush contact. Let's say you have this message with you, and you're at a diplomatic function, which you often might be. And then you just shake hands and you just hand it over, or you walk past and you walk into somebody and you quickly just put it in his pocket or wherever. You know, that's a brush contact. Sorry. In the books, Foxtrot's always laughing about it because he says whenever Angelique meets her people, they're always hugging. And it took him a while to figure out they're hugging because of brush contacts. That's why they're doing it. But there's a modern way of doing it, and the modern way is you open an email account, right? Let's say it's Proton Mail, because it's safe, you know, it's Swiss. Yeah. But you can use Gmail too, whatever, it doesn't matter. Open a mailbox. Then you send the information and it lies there. And then the other party we're communicating with logs into this email, also got the code words and the passwords and everything. Logs in, here's your email, download it, and leave a message for you as well. What never happens in this type of email, and that's why it doesn't work. It never sends out. It just receives. It never sends. Huh? You say that again. It always receives, it never sends. And the moment you can know that and you know this tactic, it is very easy for the Gmail people and Google and whoever has actually access to these things just to run a scan. And then you can flag these things because it's not normal, guys. Normally, yes, he would receive a lot, but they would go out a lot as well. So bingo, yes, the abnormality, is that how you say it? So, and because it is like that, you can flag it, you can keep an eye on it, right? Because it's all in cloud. All that cloud means is it's in a server somewhere which you can physically access. It's not in heaven. It's not there in the clouds. Really not. No, no, no. It's lying on a server which isn't with you. Of course, you can leave it very encrypted as well. That's another dead giveaway. Well, why would you do that? You know what the Taliban and those people were doing? Al Qaeda, ISIS? They would send emails to each other because they knew about this. Everybody knows. It's an open secret. Otherwise, I wouldn't have told you about it. All be in the books. But they would put words in that it goes into spam, that it goes into spam. And because they knew that US intelligence were not checking the spam messages. Yeah, great. How long did it take you to find that out, huh? NSA? How long? No such agency. Of course not. Well, 8 years. Took you 8 years to find that one out. And then they started using couriers, people like in the old days, and that's how they got to Bin Laden. And let me not talk about that failed raid either. Oh, you were so lucky to get it. Even crashed the helicopter. But you did get him. Congratulations, I'm happy for you. But since you refuse to show the body, there's a lot of jihadis out there who says you didn't get him. And where was he? In Pakistan. Tell me, the doctor who assisted you with that raid, who actually identified Bin Laden through his children's DNA, is he still in jail in Pakistan? Huh? After all these years, he's still in jail there. Right? Did you try to get him out, or did you just abandon him? Like you abandoned your people in Vietnam? Huh? Did you? No, he's still in jail. Still in jail. Oh. I would have thought you would have done everything to get him out. Tell me, which is the country in the world which burns the most US embassies down? Iran? No, you idiot. That's Pakistan. Do you know that they burned 2 embassies down, actually? Do you know why? Because they've heard that Israel actually attacked some mosque. That's why they did it. Yeah, interesting times, isn't it? Isn't it? So anyway, with Petros, they were communicating like that. She would send him a message to this email letterbox, and he would send, and that's how it came out. Then he lost his job as a CIA head. Yeah, shame. Okay, well, whatever. As I said to you, I have yet to meet a single US soldier of any rank who can keep his little prick in his pants. Just can't. It's a weakness. I don't get it, guys. Why? What happened to honor? What happened to your wedding ring? Huh? What does the Bible say about be with one woman? Huh? The mother of your children. Is it that hard? Really? Do I miss something? The word no. You know, I walk down the street here. I'm all alone in this building. Yeah. Got 15 bedrooms here. All of them with double beds. En suite. Yeah, it's very nice. If you even Phuket, come and visit. And I walk down the street, single, male, and there's lots of opportunities, you know. They would come to you and it's there. But you know, there's this really easy way. Hello, I'm married. Hello? No. You're not capable of doing that. Huh? You're not? No. Okay. That perhaps is why 1 out of 3 of your servicewomen will be raped by you. Think I want to send my daughter, not that I have one, but if I had one, I wouldn't send her to a military like that. Where's the discipline? Where is the discipline? How can you even think of raping? Anything. But, yeah, whatever. So anyway, guys, this book, Codename Cadillac, is really interesting. It is a false flag operation, how you do it. And there's a lot of twists and turns in it. As I said, it's more than 400 pages. So you have to read it if you want to know more. It's available on Amazon. It's in It's in audio, like all the books. It's also in hardcover, softcover, as well as Kindle. I hope you enjoy it. God bless. Until we meet again.